Hey people, this is David from davidarmunson.com and Photo Otaku. That's photo-otaku.com, my photography-centric blog that almost never gets updated because I'm busy and forgetful. But I am here today making this video to show you how to load this camera. This is a Hasselblad 500cm, just your standard Hasselblad. Got a modern 80mm f2.8 on here with the dedicated shade. Use lens shades, not protective filters, because they're stupid. On the bottom here I have a dedicated quick release plate. This is made by Acrotech in California. Really nice plate. I really recommend that. Yeah, I really like this camera. I use it quite a bit. Fantastic for walking around. Yeah. But one thing about this is that I really only shoot it with one film, and that film being, as you can see on the back here, the Fuji 100 black and white, which is a fantastic film. I encourage you to buy lots of it to try to encourage Fuji to keep making it. Now this is a dark slide. This is the thing that lets you take the back off the camera without exposing the film to light. Lets you switch film types, film speeds in the middle of the roll without losing film. I had to go looking for this, and ended up actually just taking one off an empty back that I had somewhere else, because I almost never take the back off this camera because I really just shoot the one film with it. So when I finish a roll, I just take the roll out, put a new roll in, without taking the back off the camera. But for the sake of illustration, we're going to, first tip here, actually. So the weird shooting situation. The dark slide, man, this is trying to get this thing positioned right. So it's like trying to shave your neck in the mirror. It's funny that I'm having so much trouble with it. Basically, you see on the dark slide, it's got this little handle here, but the way that it's manufactured is kind of rolled over the wire here. And so on one side it is smooth across, but on the other side you have this lip. So that you want the lip side toward the lens, and I'll demonstrate the reason for that. Now, okay, so dark slide in place. Here where it says like 12, that indicates that it's a 12 exposure back for 120 film and not the 24 exposure back for 220 film, which is almost impossible to find now anyway. So this slides to the right, releasing the back. So you can see the dark slide here. This is keeping film in the dark and out of the way of light. Now the first thing I want to do before we load this is take the winding crank here and make sure that, there we go. So the sound changes, and it also gets easier to wind once you've gotten past the backing paper and have fully wound the roll to the end. Now at this point, we're going to make sure this is out of the way. This is the release. So this little tab pops up here, and this turns counterclockwise, and ta-da, this pulls out. And the reason why you want to have that lip facing the way it is that if you have it the opposite way and you take out the back, it snags. See how that pulled it out a little bit? So just to avoid that, that's why we want to have the lip facing the front of the camera. Okay, so at this point you see here we have just the anatomy of the back here. So this is the film pressure plate. Here you have a little knob for winding the film on. There are two spools. Now with 35mm film, the film is wound into the camera, and then as you shoot, it winds more and more, and then at the end you have to rewind. It's a different system with medium format film. With 120 film, it starts on this reel and it ends up on this reel. So when you finish the roll, you have to, well, as you'll see. So the first thing you want to do is take this off. These tabs that hold the film in place, these are spring loaded. So it'll go like that. And that's really, so it's easy to get out. Okay, so there's this. The Fuji film, you just fold this under like so. Turn this around, and this is nice and self-adhesive. So, more convenient than the other brands. But so then we'd have this empty roll here. And we want to take this empty reel, and we were going to put it on the side of the back that has this little knob. So first, I'm going to take that, and just, there's a little nub down here. Put that in place like so. Now as you can see, it's not sitting, oh, it wasn't. Let me recreate that. Yeah, so you got to make sure that when it's positioned correctly, you want it to be like that, because it's keyed. There's a slot rather than just a hole. Okay, so there's that. Now, get the other film ready. Da-da-da-da. Fresh film, hooray. Now at this point, it's important to mention that there is this little lip here. Now this is important because without it, the film snags going into the back, but we have to make sure that the film goes under it when we load the film. Now it moves based on the position of the release here. So if I do this, it's probably too small to see here, but it actually moves up and down based on whether or not the back is locked. So we want to turn this, when we took the back out, it was like this. We want to turn it back like that, which raises this little lip. There we go. Okay, so, little paper band off of that. I want to take this out from underneath. Now, don't unroll much of the paper, because if you do too much, you might expose your film. Okay, now on this side, so we've got the empty reel here. We're going to put it on the empty side here, making sure that it's rolling off the bottom of the roll as we're looking at it, and not like this. If you do it like this, the film will not be exposed, and that's the whole point of a camera. So we want to make sure that it is in like this. So put it in thusly. Okay. Now again, when we're putting it over on this side, we want to make sure that it is going under this lip. Not if it's going over like that, you want to avoid that. So you want to make sure that it is under this lip here. And then get it over to the other side. This tab on the leader gets put into the slot on the new reel. If you're shooting Fujifilm, there is a hole in the leader, which there's a little nub in here that goes in that hole and helps you wind on well. And then you're going to turn this like so. Right? Now, what you're going to look for then is there is a mark here, that little red arrow, and we're going to turn this until the star arrow lines up with it, like so. Okay. Now we're ready. We're almost done. So at this point, remember we turned this so that we had space here. Now we're going to turn it back. Going to take the shell here, put it back here. Da, 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 da. And now we're going to wind it on. Now you see here that both of these little windows are empty currently. But when I going to wind until it has now stopped, and I can then flip this over and run it backwards until it's seated out of the way. Now you notice the little windows here. You see number 1, and you see it's white. Okay, and that tells you that it's loaded and you're on frame 1. Now if I want to shoot, I just take it like so, put it on the camera like so, and there we go. Now I am ready to shoot now that the dark slide is out. So that's how you load a Hasselblad. And some of the older backs, I don't have one on hand at the moment, they don't have the auto stop when you're winding it on. You actually open a little window here until you see the number 1 on the film backing. When I get my hands on one of those, I'll make another video illustrating that. But that's how you load the Hasselblad. Now, if you're having light leak problems, it is worth noting that in these backs, of course now there's film here, I can't show you exactly, but in here there is a little felt seal. Well, actually, no, these it's foam with a little mylar covering, but point being that there is a seal in here. And over time, the seal will wear out, so you can get some light leaks through here. So that's something to check. You can get replacement seals on eBay for cheap and do it yourself if you're handy, or send it to a shop. It's still a pretty standard thing in terms of service. When I started assisting in photography in Chicago back in 2004, most of my clients were still shooting film, so I spent a lot of time loading Hasselblads, loading RZ67s, things like that. Now, it's mostly just people doing it because they love film. So you probably won't be timed on it, so take your time, do it carefully. Any questions, comments, requests, please let me know, leave them in the comments. And also, yeah, please subscribe, please hit like, please share. I'm happy to make videos, but it's a lot easier if I know what you want, so let me know. And thanks for watching.